A special welcome. Welcome to Piedmont Unitarian Universalist Church. Piedmont UU sits on the traditional land of the Catawba, Keawe, and Sugary peoples. We honor them. My name is Elaine Deck, and I will be happy to be the worship assistant this morning for the Reverend Dr. Amy Rio. We are a flourishing, vibrant, and radically welcoming congregation, which promotes diversity, inclusion, and social justice. We provide a safe haven for creative intellectual growth, spiritual development, and a deep sense of community for all who join us. We hope that our religious values will invite you to join us as a community that lives boldly and acts justly. To all of our visitors and our members, we're very glad you're here, whether in person or with us online, and we do hope to see you again. Your presence is a gift to us. And some announcements for this Sunday. A madly generous evening, a goods and service auction, is getting closer. April 5th at the university location here. We will be opening the doors at 5:30 for refreshments, beverages, and a silent auction. And then beginning at 7, there will be a live auction. And childcare will be provided, so come and join us. We're going to have a fantastic time and raise some money for our church. Submissions are due for auction items by March 21st. So we hope to see you there. Uh-huh.
Can you confirm to everybody that's already signed up for an item in an event and just say, are you sure this date? And you just confirm the date? I mean, ask everybody to confirm back to you.
After everyone has confirmed their auction items?
No, what I want to do is say, I signed up for a bunch of things, but I want to make sure that the dates are correct for me and what you think I have and what I have. So send it out to everybody that has an event.
Okay, great. She's asking for confirmation of those who have already submitted auction items, and we'll be doing that.
Yeah, we'll pass that along to fundraising.
Yep, we'll definitely send that along.
Pass that along to the fundraising committee.
You bet. Reverend Amy is offering UU 101 this week, a week from tomorrow, Monday, March 17th at 7 o'clock by Zoom. So this is for people who would like to learn a little bit more about Unitarian Universalism and possible membership. So just let her know if you would like to join the Zoom UU 101. Our university women's group will be meeting this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. here at the church, and it's welcome to everyone who identifies as woman. We are happy to have you join us. And for other important information about our vibrant community, we ask if you would look at your order of service, or if you're on our email list, you can check our weekly announcements and monthly newsletter. And now, whatever brought you to this place at this hour, we welcome you. May you find something you need, and may you leave richer in spirit than when you arrived.
Before we have our chalice lighting, I want to offer a special thank you to Darlene, who is filling in as our pianist this morning, and to Elaine and Nancy, who took care of that this morning. I will light a candle during the joys and concerns. Our regular accompanist and musician, Ann, called me this morning, and her husband was not feeling well, and they're currently in urgent care or the ER, and found a blood clot. So he is. We want to continue to hold them in the light and keep them in our prayers. Obviously, Ann's deeply concerned about that, and I'll touch base with her after service. But we really appreciate the people who've made things happen so quickly that we're able to have Darlene here with us today. So. So as we look towards lighting our chalice, I ask that you hear now these words from Summer Albayati. In betwixt and in between, we move in the liminal spaces that show shades of what can become, what can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that. With patience and faith and love and hope that this time will pass. Like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between. Please join me now in singing the words to lighting our chalice, the symbol of our faith. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our call to worship found in your bulletin. Come into this space, bringing all that you are.
The worries, fears, exhaustion, impatience.
The hopes and dreams, the loves and joys.
Come into the sacred space, knowing that every part of you is welcome and loved.
Our time together is one to share, knowing that our connection makes us stronger, and that the light which fills us glows much more brightly when we are gathered. Come into this space. Amen. Our opening hymn is found in our gray hymnal. It's number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open, and we will sing this through 3 times. Please be seated, and I invite any of our younger ones to come forward for the Time for All Ages with Miss Madia. Yes, she does.
All right, let's come a little closer. We're going to be over here. Good morning. It's very exciting to see so many faces up here today. We've got some new faces. We've got some returning faces. How have you been? How's your Sunday? Good? Your morning's been good? Good. Well, today I want to talk to you about patience. Because last week we started our new theme, because we have a new month, and the theme is trust. And when we were in RE, we were able to define trust as having belief that something will happen, or someone will do something, or the thing that you want to happen will happen. You are trusting that it will come true. And part of that is having patience. Can anyone tell me what patience is? What does that mean, the word patience? What is it?
Wait. It's wait. You're gonna wait.
Exactly. You're going to wait for the thing. So you're waiting for the thing to happen, or you're waiting to get something. Are you waiting and complaining and grumbling about it the whole time? No. When you're being patient, you're waiting peacefully. You're waiting quietly because you trust that the thing is going to come to you. You trust you're going to get the thing that you were looking for. You trust that your friend is going to do the thing they said, etc. So today, it's okay. She can run around. Aw, that's very nice of you, Lily. So today I have a little bit of a book that I'm going to read to you. It's pretty long, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, just the first little bit, and we'll describe what's happening in the book. But anytime you think a person in the story is either showing trust or patience, I want you to wave your hands like this. Can you do that? Awesome. So anytime someone in the book is either showing trust or patience, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your hands? All right, so we're going to read just a little bit of this book called The Patchwork Quilt by Valerie Flournoy, pictures by Jerry Pinkney. No, I got it. Thanks. Tanya sat restlessly on her chair by the kitchen window. For several days, she had to stay in bed with a cold. But now, Tanya's cold was almost gone. She was anxious to go outside and enjoy the fresh air and the arrival of spring. Is Tanya being patient right now? She's anxious, she's restless. Do you think that means she's patient? No. Mama, when can I go outside? Asked Tanya. Mama pulled the tray of biscuits from the oven and placed it on the counter. In time, she murmured. All in good time. Tanya gazed through the window and saw her two brothers, Ted and Jim, and Papa building the new backyard fence. I'm going to talk to Grandma, Tanya said. Grandma was sitting in her favorite spot, the big soft chair in front of the picture window. In her lap were scraps from the shirt Ted had torn that winter. What you gonna do with all that stuff? Tanya asked. Stuff? These ain't stuff. These little pieces are gonna make me a quilt, a patchwork quilt. Tanya tilted her head. I know what a quilt is, Grandma. There's one on your bed, but it's old and dirty, and Mama can never get it clean. Grandma sighed. It ain't dirty, honey. It's worn, the way it's supposed to be. Grandma flexed her fingers to keep them from stiffening. She sucked in some air and said, My mother made me a quilt when I wasn't any older than you. But sometimes the old ways are forgotten. Tanya leaned against the chair and rested her head on her grandmother's shoulder. Shortly after, Tanya's mom comes in and it's time for lunch. And because Grandma has all of her fabric scraps all over the place, Mama says to Grandma, you need to pick up all of your stuff. And Tanya says, Mama, this isn't stuff, this is gonna be a quilt. And Mama says, if you want a quilt, I can go to the store and buy you a quilt. And Grandma says, yes, you can go and buy a quilt, but it's not going to be nearly as nice as the one I'm gonna make, and it's not gonna last nearly as long. So Tanya says that she will help Grandma make a quilt. Let's start right now. We'll be finished in no time. Grandma held Tanya close and patted her head. It's gonna take quite a while to make this quilt. Not a couple of days or a week, not even a month. A good quilt, a masterpiece, Grandma's eyes shone at the thought. Why, I need more material, more gold and blue, some red and green, and I'll need the time to do it right. It'll take me a year at least. "A year," shouted Tanya. "That's too long. I can't wait that long, Grandma." Grandma laughed. "A year ain't that long, honey. Making this quilt is going to be a joy. Now run along and let Grandma rest." So, as Grandma is working on this quilt, we see in this story the family throughout the whole year and the clothes that they're wearing and how those clothes get to become pieces of the quilt. And as Grandma's working on the quilt, Tanya is learning the value of patience and how good things take time to make. And one day, Grandma starts getting sick and she has to stay in bed. So what happens is Tanya and her mama start working on the quilt for Grandma. And Tanya is cutting up all the little squares, and Mama's helping her stitch them together, and they're able to put the quilt together and put it on Grandma's bed. Look at this beautiful quilt. And it's covered in all of the clothes that they wore throughout the year, so then they can all be a part of this big family quilt. And when Grandma gets better, her and Mama finish the very final square. It's a special square that they put on that quilt just for Tanya. And it says, "For Tanya, from your mama and grandma." So, at the beginning of this story, was Tanya showing patience? No, she wanted the quilt to be done right then, right? She was like, we could do this in no time. It'll be super fast. And Grandma had to teach her that good things take time. Do you think Tanya first believed Grandma? No, probably not. Did she trust that Grandma was right when she said that? No. But as Tanya learned how to make the quilt, she learned, oh, it does take time. And if I'm going to do it right, I need to make sure I'm taking my time too. That's why this is one of my favorite stories to talk about patience. Because even though the story is about a family and making a quilt and being together and coming together to make something beautiful, you also get to learn about the value of patience through Tanya. So today, in our RE class, we are going to be talking about trust and trusting each other. So if you can all stand up with me, and we are going to head across the hallway.
At this time, we move into our time for ritual and sacred sharing. We share joys and sorrows, concerns and milestones. So as we light candles this morning, we begin lighting a candle for Anne and her husband as they are, waiting for more information this morning. Eileen H., who attends our Salisbury gathering, many of you know her husband has been ill for some time and had a fall Friday night and is in the hospital, and as they're trying to work with him at this point. Ron, who attends our Salisbury gathering, is having daily treatments for a couple weeks for some health issues. Orland and his wife Martha with her health concerns. We light a candle for Susan B., who continues various treatments for her health issues and for the ongoing cancer treatments. We light a candle for all who have been impacted by the fires in California, and for the ongoing recovery efforts and all who've been impacted by Hurricane Helene. For the immediate relief of all the many people in Gaza. For all areas of violence around the world, including Haiti, the Sudan, the Middle East, and especially all who are suffering from the ongoing war in Ukraine. And for our country, that we may continue to work towards creating a society which is filled with love, empathy, compassion, and justice for all people. Now, at this time, you are invited to come forward as you feel called to do so. I invite you to come forward along the far wall. We have our prayer stand, and you may fill out a prayer card to place on that stand. You may light your own candle of joy or concern, or place a stone in our shared water together. I invite us now into a time of quiet rest, meditation, or prayer. And as we settle into our seats, I invite you to deepen your breath and to relax your shoulders. And during this time of silence, to sit patiently and invite into your heart what it is that you need this morning. I will sound the singing bowl to begin our time of silence, and after our period of silence and meditation, we will join with our musical meditation together.
This morning's wisdom reading is a poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning entitled Patience Taught by Nature. "Oh, dreary life," we cry, "oh, dreary life." And still, the generations of birds sing through our sighing, and the flocks and herds serenely live, while we are keeping strife with heaven's true purpose in us, as a knife against which we may struggle. Ocean girds unslacked by the dry land, savanna swards unweary sweep, hills watch unworn, and rife, meek leaves drop yearly from the forest trees to show above the unwasted stars that pass in their old glory. O thou God of old, grant me some smaller grace that comes to these, but so much patience as a blade of grass grows by, contented through the heat and cold.
It's not easy to be patient in today's world, is it? We live in a world where we expect instant gratification and others expect that from us. Now, if there is a word or a movie or a song that we can't quite remember, what do y'all do? Oh yeah, you pull out that little phone, right? You just, there's no need to wait until the middle of the night when you think, oh yeah, that was it, right? Like we used to do. Or if we want to purchase something, we again pull out that little phone or maybe our laptop or our iPad, and we can have it delivered. If it's food, maybe within an hour or less than an hour. If it's some item we want to have, it might be on doorstep the very next day. And how many times have we texted someone, and if an hour's gone by and we haven't heard back, we're wondering, why haven't we had a response yet? Now, one of my favorite instances of this is all the years I spent working as a college faculty, and in our early service, one of our wonderful professors who was there, sitting beside me, and said, how many times have I had an email, say at 10 o'clock at night from a student, and of course I'm not checking email at 10 o'clock at night, not my work one certainly, and wanting some kind of response about an assignment due the next day, right? And then another one at 11 o'clock or maybe midnight, Professor Rio, blah, 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 tell me. And, needing some kind of instant gratification, instant response to what they had waited the last minute on. Now, one of the aspects of living in a capitalist society where the dollar is idolized is that people expect instant gratification. They expect instant results. We want an instant or very quick and large return on our investments. Patience is not seen as a virtue in this kind of world. If there's something we want, we think we should have it now. Waiting can often be seen as a waste of time. And we don't want to wait in vain, do we? Just like one of my favorite old reggae songs about not wanting to wait in vain for someone's love. And as Tom Petty reminded us, the waiting is always the hardest part. So the best way to wait is to learn patience. And patience is a key factor in learning to trust. Now, we know during this month our theme is trust, which is such a hard thing in this world. And developing patience is going to help us in our journey as we learn to trust. Impatience means we only trust the result, and that's all we want, or any control we think we can have over it. Patience means we trust in life, in this journey. We trust in ourselves and with that divine spark within each one of us. And we trust the loved ones in our communities around us. I know we've all heard the old adage that patience is a virtue, right? Now, I've been known in my family for not being a patient individual. And almost 31 years ago, as I was going through a 27-hour labor to a really big baby, and Thursday, I always call that my birthing day, not necessarily his birthday, 31 years ago. I remember Mom saying, as I was waiting and waiting for this child finally to arrive, Mom said, well, Amy, this is a good time to remember the one thing that you can work on is patience, and this can help. I was like, this is not a helpful thing to me right now, Mom, but, she said lots of other wonderful things to me, too, and it was a fantastic mom and grandma. So, but I think that so many of us think that patience is just is just passively waiting. We think of patience as passively waiting. And I think any of us who've been through childbirth labor, we know there's nothing passive about that, right? And that leads me to the different way that we can look at patience and what it means to trust. Now, the Hebrew Scriptures, the book of Psalms, chapter 130, verse 6, has this phrase: "My soul waits for the Lord more than those who watch for the morning. My soul waits for the Lord more than those who watch for the morning." Psalm 130 is about being patient and trusting. The particular phrase, watch for the morning, was one that people of that time would immediately have understood. Because in the ancient Near East, 2,500, 3,000 years ago, people knew what watching for the morning meant. People lived in communities because it was safer that way, whether the danger might be unfriendly neighbors or wild animals or the elements. Now, during this time period, while there were a handful of larger cities, most people lived in these smaller, say, towns, we might call them now. But all these communities, these groups of people who were living together, no matter how small or large, they all had one thing in common. They always had watchers through the night. The night watchers literally kept watch so they could sound the alarm if needed. Now, nights could be long, dark, cold, at times frightening. But the watchers trusted that the dawn would come as they actively waited, walking through their territory, looking to see what was on the horizon. As they actively waited and waited patiently, they trusted that the dawn would come. And so the psalmist sung these words, "My soul waits for the Lord more than those who watch for the morning." Waiting and waiting patiently through the long, dark night is an experience of spiritual journey. It's a journey of our soul. So patience was not a passive act of just sitting and waiting through the long, dark night. Now, the Hebrew word that is used in the psalm is translated into Greek with a word which I think really encapsulates what we're talking about this morning. And this Greek word is hupomone. Hupomone. Hupomone is a great virtue. Patience is a great virtue, since it describes a courageous endurance that defies evil. Patience is a courageous endurance that defies evil. Courageous endurance that defies evil is not just sitting and passively waiting. It is active, it is alive, it is filled with the divine spark of the universe, that divine spark we all carry and which helps bind us together. Courageous endurance does not mean we rely on the result of that patience. So we don't know what the result's going to be. As stated last week when we were talking about trust, trust does not mean that we trust in the outcome, because we can never control the outcome. Trust is in the journey that we know that we are called to take. Courageous endurance means that we have the patience and trust to continue to fight injustice and evil in this world. Even when it seems overwhelming, and we can't imagine how much more harm will take place in this world, we continue to live as a people of active resistance. We continue to live as a people of active resistance, both individually, our own journeys, but also as a community. The community we have gathered here and other communities which are important to us. Now, whether it's resisting unjust laws or actions of leaders, or allying with someone who exists on the margins and is dealing with oppression, or protecting the earth by any small or big action, or standing up for ourselves and enduring in difficult situations and conditions, or any of the other myriad of things that we can imagine or think of this morning or that we might be experiencing at this moment. Courageous endurance is a spiritual way of being which embodies trust. We don't simply wait in vain or wait impatiently. There's going to be moments that we will, be impatient, absolutely. We don't simply wait in vain or wait impatiently for something to change or something to happen. We actively live in such a way that embodies courageous endurance. Now, the Greek concept of patience, hupomone, recognizes an inner strength of the soul, that inner strength of our soul fueled by the divine light that we carry, a strength which circumstances, no matter how difficult, can never diminish. Now, this doesn't mean there's not times or moments when people are discouraged or tired or angry or impatient. Everyone has those times. You might have them multiple times through the day. Everyone has those times because we are simply human, and this is part of our journey. But hupomone, that courageous endurance, that inner strength of our soul, what it does mean is when we strengthen our souls for our spiritual journey, as we are doing at this very moment, gathered together here, it means that we are strong enough as individuals and as a community to to wait patiently and actively, knowing that courageous endurance is never in vain. We are the night watchers at this moment. The night is long and dark, but we see the skies and the sky and the stars in the sky through the moving clouds. We hear the animals that are making noise or roaming around. We actively walk through the night, looking, seeking out signs of hope, being prepared for things that we need to be prepared for. We walk through the night, shoring up our communities, actively shoring up our communities, caring for those in need, protecting those who need that. We are walking through the night, courageously enduring. And we know and we trust that the dawn is coming up on the horizon. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Thank you, Darlene. That was inspiring and comforting. Let there now be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This month, we're sharing our offering plate with UU Justice NC. UU Justice North Carolina joyfully organizes Unitarian Universalists to co-create a transformative movement for justice through spiritual grounding, collaboration, and imagination. We ask that you place your gift in the baskets as they make their way around the room. And of course, you're always welcome to give online at puuc.org or by texting PUUC at the number 73256. Today's offering will now gratefully be received.
We give thanks for these generous gifts of your hearts, gifts which continue to help us practice courageous endurance and to share love and hope throughout this world. I invite you now to please rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn found in your gray hymnal, number 108, My Life Flows On. Before we extinguish our chalice, I offer thanks for all the many volunteers who helped make our worship service possible today, and especially for Darlene coming in at short notice and playing so beautifully. We also ask if you can place your hymnals on the cart near the piano before you leave. That's always a big help. So let us take a moment to give thanks, either in our hearts or with words for others to hear, for the things for which we are grateful today.
The birds at the feeder.
The birds at the theater.
At the feeder.
At the feeder. Okay. I thought there was some theater I didn't know about. Okay. You're behind me, so okay, yeah. Birds at the feeder, yes.
My feeder. My feeder. Our feeder.
Your feeder, Cindy's feeder.
Everybody's feeder.
Everyone's feeder.
Unity in community.
Unity and community, yes.
Children.
Children, yes.
A new word, upomony.
A new word, pomoni, yes. A new Greek word to add to your account, your agenda, yeah. I don't know. Courageous endurance. Well, I give thanks for this community, all who are gathered here, all who are joining us virtually, all who are with us in spirit this morning, and for this wonderful, beloved community which embodies courageous endurance. So, receive now this blessing. Let us go forth with patient hearts, trusting in divine spirit, trusting in ourselves, and trusting in beloved community. Amen. We now extinguish our chalice, but we carry its light and its warmth and its meaning with us until we meet again. May we go in peace, believe in peace, create peace wherever we wander. May it be so. Now for our closing song, we form a circle. You may hold hands if you would like to, or you may simply place your hands on your heart.